Is Joe Schoen in his first game of the third season of his time as the Giants general manager on the hot seat? Pat Leonard said that as he joined my guys, Real RZOB Space on Twitter. Shout out to RZ Honor, got him on there. And Pat Leonard answered all of the questions that we've been talking about on this channel. Was Joe Schoen a part of those Daniel Jones contract talks? Is Joe Schoen on the hot seat? What's going on with the quarterback position? And most importantly, is John Mara putting pressure on Joe Schoen? We're going to talk about all that on today's show. But first, I want to hear from you in the comments section. Do you, as a diehard Giants fan, think Joe Schoen is on the hot seat? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I want to hear from all of you watching the show right now. And as we do, let's get into it. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and Pat Leonard says, I think Joe Schoen is on the hot seat more than we think. And look, I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of different differentiating opinions on Pat Leonard. And one thing I've always respected about Pat is he is not afraid to say what I think some other people are afraid to say. He'll go out there and say it, even if he's got to extend his neck a little bit and leave himself open to some criticism. What I will say is this. This is Joe Schoen's football team. Of the 53 players that are on the active roster, 45 of them are Joe Schoen guys, whereas only 8 of them are Dave Gettleman guys. It's year 3. You've been through 3 free agency cycles. You have been through 3 NFL drafts. You've had opportunities to cut this roster down 3 times. This is your football team. These are the guys you added. 45 of them are from you. So I don't want to hear any excuses about how you had to inherit Dave Gettleman's trash. This is your team, and all of your fingerprints are all over him. I think to properly have this conversation, we got to go all the way back to the 2022 NFL draft class for the New York Giants. Because not a lot of great players on here. Kayvon Thibodeau has sure had some really nice moments in the NFL before. But he also has 7 NFL career games without a tackle. Evan Neal doesn't even play for you anymore. Wan'Dale Robinson has not lived up to being a second-round pick. Joshua Zudu is always hurt, and he does not play. Cordell Flott has showed me he is not a starting corner in this league. Daniel Bellinger is now your tight end, too. Dane Belton is a backup. Micah McFadden did not play at all week 1. I think he's good, and I think when he's healthy, he'll play. DJ Davidson has probably been the most value pick out of this class. Marcus McKeithen, already off the team. Darian Beavers, already off the team. What about the 2023 New York Giants draft class? Deonte Banks, he looked like a rookie last year, but he also had some nice moments, and I like the way that he played in week 1 for the most part. John Michael Schmitz has not lived up to the hype. Jalen Hyatt only played 16 snaps in week 1. Eric Gray is your backup running back. Trey Hawkins doesn't play. Jordan Riley is a depth D lineman. Javarius Owens is off the team, and you traded up for Banks and Hyatt, and you don't even play Hyatt. And Banks, although I think he's a good player, has not lived up to the hype of a number 1 corner. At some point, Joe Schoen has to hit on some draft picks. 11 picks in the first draft class. Maybe 2 of them are players. The next year, you had 7 picks. Those aren't really any great players either. And don't even tell me that he's had a good free agency and adding more talent to this team. Because he signed Mark Lewinsky in his first free agency class, and he's off the team. John Feliciano off the team. Matt Breida off the team. Darren Waller off the team. Paris Campbell off the team. He gave Daniel Jones $140 million. Whether you think that was John Mara or Joe Schoen, he had his hand in that. Bobby Okereke has been his best free agency signing by a mile. Raheem Nunez-Roches, he gave him a 2-year deal. He's okay. He gave up a lot for Brian Burns. I commend him for making that move, but he had 1 pressure in week 1, and you went out and signed Devin Singletary, who I think his story is still untold at this point. Pat Leonard said this about Daniel Jones' contract extension. Joe Schoen was in the room trying to get the Daniel Jones deal done. John Mara, he was on the phone as well. So even though I want to believe that it was John Mara because I don't want to have my general manager be a part of that Daniel Jones situation, everyone that had a hand in that, they got to go in my opinion. But Pat Leonard, who has inside access, says Joe Schoen operated this offseason to try and win now from possibly feeling pressure about his job. That's why a developmental quarterback was not taken over any player who could immediately help this team. I think that tells you that Joe Schoen is feeling pressure, that Joe Schoen is not directly being influenced by John Mara, but there is definitely pressure from the top down, and I think that is affecting the decision-making of this team. I think if we put Joe Schoen on a lie detector, he would say he wanted to draft a quarterback at some point. But if what Pat said is true, I think that answers a lot of questions for us. More on this topic coming up in a second, but first, I got to give a major shout-out to today's sponsor, Game Time. If you're looking for last-minute tickets to go catch the Giants this weekend, or maybe you want to go catch the Yankees or Mets before the summer is over, download the Game Time app and get the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the events get closer, and you get the lowest price guaranteed. So download the app, create an account, use the promo code ChatSports, and get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. And make sure you take advantage of these two features. The all-in pricing feature. That way the price that you see is the price that you pay. Meaning when you see 4 tickets are available for $100, you pay $100. You don't get hit upside the head when you get to check out with all the hidden fees. And the Game Time Picks, which is a brand new feature, it pretty much lets you customize the app. That way it's so much easier to go watch your favorite team play. So much easier to go watch your favorite artist or band in a concert. The Game Time Picks feature is awesome. It pretty much personalizes your feed. So download the app, create an account, use the promo code ChatSports, that's CHATSPORTS, and get $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. What time is it? It's game time. Be a real one. Support the show, support the sponsor. All that information will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. All right, so Pat Leonard says that Joe Schoen felt pressure to add win-now players to this roster. And I want to actually, give a little bit of a round of applause for some of the moves he made. I like the John Runyon signing. I like the Jermaine Luminor move. I like the Greg Van Roten move. But he traded for Isaiah Simmons last year. He didn't play at all in week 1. Boogie Basham was a healthy scratch. But what's probably most frustrating to me, and I'm sure a lot of other Giants fans, is you've let some pretty good football players walk out the door. Julian Love is a starting safety going on year 3 for the Seattle Seahawks. He already signed a contract extension with them. He is a long-term piece of their future. Tyrod Taylor was your best quarterback on this team last year, and that includes Daniel Jones. You let him go to the New York Jets. I don't really want to say too much about number 26 and Xavier McKinney. In his first game as a Green Bay Packer, he had an interception. Look, it's year 3, and I'm not so sure how much better the New York Giants are than when Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman were fired. Because right now I think you're the second worst roster in the National Football League. And it all comes down to this, because if you don't have the quarterback right, nothing matters. Should we trust Joe Schoen to pick the next quarterback? Because he paid Daniel Jones, whether for his feet were held to the fire or not, he signed off on it. He was the general manager. He's the one that's going to be blamed. So I'm not so sure that I should believe and trust in Joe Schoen to get the guy that's going to turn this thing around. I also don't love that Pat Leonard said the Giants like Jane Daniels over Drake May. I know Daniels went 2 and May went 3, but if you watch this channel, you know I'm a Drake May guy, and I have always leaned that way. And it's still a long, long way away. We are years away from finding out who the correct player is to take, but I just don't know if I can agree with any decision that Joe Schoen is going to make at the quarterback position because he gave Daniel Jones $160 million. What's your confidence level in Mr. Joseph Schoen? Scale for me from 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident. 10, you think he's going to add the 5th Super Bowl to the New York Giants organization. Sound off for me down below. My confidence level's a 5. If you asked me 3 months ago, I would have said 7. If you asked me before Hard Knocks, I would have said 8. I don't think Hard Knocks was that bad. I understand the moves he made. He let a safety go and he let a running back go and he allocated those funds to a pass rushing spot in the O-line, more premium positions. But man, maybe an overreaction, but after week 1, you looked like the worst team in the NFL. Another thing I want to have answered is, will John Mara stick by Joe Schoen if this gets even uglier? Like, let's say you lose week 2. Then you lose to the Browns. And then you lose week 4 to the Dallas Cowboys at home, and you're 0-4. How bad is it going to get in the media? And will Joe Schoen have the trust of John Mara? Because the way I see this unfolding is John Mara, if this gets ugly, is going to fire Joe Schoen. He is going to fire Brian Dable, and he's going to turn to the guy that he thinks can fix it all. And that is Bill Belichick. I tweeted this out the other day saying, this feels inevitable. And I added a little bit of context to it. And it's John Mara, after feeling the pressure from the fan base, is going to turn to the guy that was once a part of this organization, really laid the framework of the New York Giants being looked at as one of the best defensive teams in NFL history and the best coach ever, and say, you know what? I don't know who to trust. I'm just going to give you everything, Bill Belichick, and hopefully you can fix it at 72 years old. Is it the right decision? Is it the wrong decision? I'm not sure. But this kind of gives me Phil Jackson to the New York Knicks vibes. And I think we all know that that did not end well for the New York Knicks. But you know what? You got week 2, and you play the Commanders. And all this doesn't matter. You go out and win a football game. So how about you do that? How about you just go beat the Commanders and you're 1-1? Make sure you are following me over on social media. I'm on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm also on Instagram at @MarshallGreen_. I'm posting. I'm tweeting. Hit me up over there, and let's go Big Blue.